What's something that's unnecessarily expensive? Graphing calculators. They've been using the same model for 20 plus years, 17 if we're talking the TI-84, and the prices are ridiculous. That is because TI have the monopoly of being approved for exams at many schools. Very clever marketing strategy, and also complete ass-hattery to keep doing. I hated TIs with a passion, but had to take up to Calculus 2 in college, so I did some research when I was a freshman and decided to get the Casio ClassPad 330. Roughly the same price, but it was a touchscreen, and I always used to have Casio watches growing up, so I figured the user input would be friendlier. It was the best $100 I've ever spent, and if I had to take math classes again, I would buy that calculator. I showed it to my professors in college, and they said they were okay with me using it. It didn't have internet capabilities, but it could do a lot of other stuff most TIs couldn't. It was amazing. Funerals. Costco sells coffins, by the way, online, and they're much cheaper than what the funeral home is selling them for. Funeral homes have to legally accept outside caskets. Any food or beverage sold at a sporting event or concert, and the parking as well. I work at an amusement park that just this year started selling alcohol. $9 for a 12-ounce drinkable beverage, $12 for a 16-ounce Bud Light. Their reasoning was that people won't pay those crazy prices to get wasted. They'll have one or two. If they're going to get wasted, they'll do what they have always done and drink in the parking lot beforehand. Now they can buy one in the park to mask their booze breath. To be fair, the number of wasted hasn't changed, and the park is making some extra much-needed cash. Right? Who shows up to a bar sober? As long as you have a safe way home, it's all gravy. I'm shocked I haven't seen college textbooks. That crap is incredibly overpriced here in the US. I haven't thought of those in a few years, but I remember every semester jumping through hoops trying to weasel my way out of paying full price for textbooks. And the people who have replied must not have been in school when online access codes hit the scene. Now every single class has some reason to charge you $120 so that you can do your homework. So sure, you bought the 4th edition instead of the 5th and saved $90, but now you have to buy the online code and pay $120 anyways. That crap should be criminal. Ugh, and course packs. My university would require you to buy what was essentially just a stack of low-quality PDFs of chapters from different books or journal articles, printed on cheap paper and bound with plastic clips. It would be like $80 to $120 for no reason, but you had to buy it instead of reading the papers and chapters on Sci-Hub because it also had your homework questions. For one class I took, it was literally just the same PDFs that they also had on the class Canvas page, except you had to physically have the course pack in your discussion section to get participation credit. They'd release a new edition with a different colored cover each semester so you couldn't just buy a used one off of a former student. I was part of the first class at my university to need the online access codes for the physics homework, and they didn't tell us about it until the first homework was due at the end of the second week of classes. So there were a bunch of students with pirated copies trying to buy the access code on Amazon. The annoying part was that the questions were the exact same as what was in the book. It was literally just an auto-grader for the professor. Anything that adds on an administrative fee or convenience fee. Why is it an extra $20 to push a button, Susan? Yeah, my apartment tried to do a convenience fee to pay rent online at $50. I make it a point to go to administration and handwrite a check, so now they have to send an employee to cash it at the bank. Not so convenient now, is it? I had an independent landlord who would only take money orders from the post office. No personal checks and no way to send money electronically. No way I was waiting in line at the local ridiculously slow PO every month and paying whatever small fee to get a money order. So I paid her in cash, every month. She hated it, but couldn't find a reason to justify turning down cash. Like, I don't know, you ran a credit check on me, but if you won't take a check or a card, oh well, here's a giant fistful of 20s. Going to the damn dentist. Why is dental insurance different than health insurance? My teeth are not luxury bones I should pay to keep healthy and in my mouth. It really should be just a subspecialty covered by normal healthcare. Dental problems are health problems. Yeah, in the UK, dental work is pretty much never considered medical, which means you fall out of scope for things like paid time off, sick leave, medical retirement, and so on. It's very often always considered elective, even if you are having a painful emergency. And for some reason, there are oral surgeons who are merely doctors that specialize in the mouth, but many of them aren't actually dentists and are not permitted to give any kind of dental treatment beyond slightly more complex extractions. So what gives? Vending machines on the secure side of airports. You can't bring the $2 Coke you bought within line of sight of the checkpoint through because it could be a bomb. You can buy another one once you get past security, however, but now it's $6. The machines are literally within sight of each other. Portland, Oregon Airport, PDX, recently adopted street pricing for all products. It's nice not feeling hostage to monopoly pricing. PDX is all around one of the best airports I've been to in the US. Insulin. I'm from a third world country and one dose costs $5 here. Why is it so expensive in the USA? Just curious, how is it possible that we have it so cheap here and there it's expensive AF? The real answer is long and very complicated, but the short version is that our healthcare system prioritizes business profits over the health of the public. Ticketmaster's service fees. If the flow of diamonds was not controlled, the cost would drop dramatically. It would be literally a few dollars a carat for diamonds if it wasn't controlled. Nope, less expensive, but not dirt cheap. Gemologist. Printer ink. Epson EcoTank ET3760 changed our lives. Not the world's best color printer, but it gets the job done. Same here, except the printer was garbage. Consistently failed to work with the phones unless the phone or the printer was restarted. And it was a coin toss which needed it, then started printing colors wrong. Bought a Canon with the same tank idea. We'll see how that works. Might use the EcoCrap tank for target practice at this point. Glasses for sure. Not just Zenny, but iBuyDirect. Payne glasses, Zilul, etc. I got one pair from iBuyDirect and one from Payne and paid less than $100 overall, and that included shipping. My prescription sunglasses plus regular glasses were about $70 shipped at iBuyDirect. The regular glasses were about $15 of that, and they're my #1 source of compliments. Mattresses. They sell for over 10 times what they cost to manufacture. I worked in the industry for a few decades. The retail is typically double wholesale, and wholesale is typically double manufactured cost, so they sell for about 4 times what it costs to make them. Spoiler, that's true for almost all retail. In fact, that margin is on the low side for a lot of industries, because the cost of making them doesn't include the overhead of designing the product, marketing the product, and just all the other costs of running a business. Usually all of that, what it costs to make, is just the cost of the goods and labor to make it, not all the other stuff like marketing, the office buildings, the corporate branding, the executive pay, R&D, legal, and industrial design, etc., etc. Giving birth and adopting in the US. And then they wonder why people are waiting longer or simply not having kids at all. I struggled to pay rent all through my 20s and 30s. I have little to no savings. I'm earning less than I was 10 years ago. All of my friends are struggling. I have no idea how people are raising kids, let alone buying houses. Health insurance in the United States. Healthcare in the US in general, especially medication. I'm getting booted from my stepfather's awesome insurance in a year and a half, and I'll be going onto the insurance my job provides. My work doesn't have awesome insurance, so I'm gonna attempt to apply for secondary insurance through the state, and hopefully get approved because I'm disabled. My medications are so expensive and essential to daily life, so I can't go without them. Towing fees. Why are those so expensive? What's the breakdown? I live in a small city where a regular towing fee can be over $500+. Then I go to bigger cities and here towing fees can get up to $1,000+. How is this even legal for such a minor offense like parking in the wrong spot or parking somewhere too long? Not saying you shouldn't be towed if you're committing that offense. However, bankrupting people just to get their personal property back seems so illegal to me and just downright unethical. It's especially fun when you are legally parked in a spot you paid for and still get towed. Assholes moved my car with their truck and then snapped pics as proof. Took all night to get my car out. Luckily, the parking lot reimbursed the tow, but they are frickin' thieves. Epipens. CVS sells a generic for $109.99 for a 2-pack. Still crazy. They used to be like $25. I'm sure it's due to higher construction quality, but outdoor furniture. You either buy cheap that will disintegrate as a light breeze blows through your yard as if it was on the wrong end of a Thanos snap, or you sell your house and live on a diamond-plated Mars-graded 3-piece lounge suite. Now I want to design a furniture set that's made of solid iridium. This chair will be floating around space after the sun blows up. $1 million. Weddings. Cake, flowers, band, etc. Add wedding to it and the price jumps up. We shopped for all of our stuff without mentioning the word wedding. I was mad about our wedding cake. It tasted and felt like crap and was pricey. We got carrot cake, and a 3-day-old cake in the fridge my wife could have made would have tasted much better and not been as dry. Hospital fees and dental care. Tip: always ask for a receipt when you pay for healthcare because it will go down dramatically due to unneeded costs. Specifically an itemized bill. Supposedly, hospitals often double charge or charge for services not rendered. I suggested that my friend hire one of those professionals who comb through your hospital bill after she'd gone through cancer treatment. The professional ended up finding $5,000 worth of charges to dispute. Diamonds, most of the time. There is only one correct way to get the true market price for a diamond, and that is to buy the diamond on an open market such as eBay. Now here's the key. You have to buy it from a normal person, not a dealer or broker. You want to be able to buy the diamond, turn around, and resell it via the exact same buying and selling method that you bought it, and get the same price for it that you paid for it. I bought a ring off of eBay this way for only $300. When I went and got it appraised, they revealed that it was a ring that would have normally sold via MSRP for around $4,000. If I had bought it brand new, I would have been taken to the cleaners, but since I bought it used from another person, it's still worth exactly what I paid for it, if I decide to resell it to another person. There was a good episode on Netflix, Explained, about diamonds. The main point was, there is no secondhand market for diamonds and value becomes extremely low. No one wants secondhand and buys new. In the end, it's pretty much a worthless stone/jewelry, and its only real value, sentimental value to the individual. Going to the movies. Agreed, and it's mainly because theaters don't get crap from ticket sales. That's why concessions are so expensive. I have no problem paying for popcorn, drinks, or a meal here and there, but I'm not spending $3.75 for a box of Milk Duds when almost every movie theater in my area at least is within walking distance of a Dollar Tree or Walmart. For that money, I can buy 3 boxes of candy and still have change left over. Beef jerky. I'm getting real tired of paying $8 for like 3 pieces of jerky and some little scraps. It takes a pound of meat to make an ounce of jerky. That's why it's so expensive. It's a lot less than that, actually. You only lose about 40% of weight when making standard commercial jerky, but that would almost double the price. The price is so high due to packaging and perception. $4 doesn't seem so bad for a big-ass piece of jerky until you realize it's only 1 ounce, and you just spent $64 a pound on some beef, spices, and soy sauce. Source: have a meat packaging plant and make jerky, as well as countless other expensive meat products. Squeaky toys for dogs. Freaking $8 for a taco with 1 squeaker? And they fall apart so easily too. Just like a real taco. Even slightly old Pokemon games. Found my old DS and wanted to relive the old memories, but I realized I gave away all my games long ago. So I started searching up copies of Pokemon Emerald and Diamond, and found that an authentic copy of every Pokemon game from X and Y and earlier is worth 80 plus at least, usually sitting around 110. That damned company defies everything I know about economics and depreciating value in goods. Just emulate them, to be fair. I believe DSs can be modded. I normally don't mod Nintendo stuff, but I assume it's been done, if you still want an authentic experience. Medication that requires a prescription. Being poor. The charges for being late on this or slipping up on that going negative in your account. Those little things are designed to help keep the poor poorer and the rich richer. Some things that are illegal are really just a ticket inconvenience to a wealthy person, with connections or a crooked government worker. As an American, the answer is medical care. It doesn't cost the facility anywhere near $1,000 to give me an X-ray, but that is what they charge. My doctor wanted an ultrasound on my kidneys due to my medical condition to just check up on them. They called the day before and it was scheduled to do the pre-check-in and told me my portion of the bill was $770. I told them I needed to cancel the appointment. The lady was very snarky and that I should do what the doctor ordered. I told her that was almost my mortgage and I couldn't afford it. He was mad I never went, but once again, who can afford $770 for an ultrasound just to check up? Crap's insane. They acted like I was insane for not wanting the ultrasound. Bottled water. It's not unnecessarily expensive, it's just unnecessary for most uses. Obviously, it's necessary or highly convenient for some situations like disaster relief. Train rides in America. Gonna cost me nearly twice as much to take a train across the country and way longer than a flight? I love trains, but they are just not practical in most of America. Some exceptions around the DC area and East Coast. That is what limited investment looks like. All that transit infrastructure spending goes to roads and cars. If we spent that kind of money on mass transit, it might actually be competitive. Hormones. Hormones control all of your bodily functions, and when they're out of balance, all kinds of things happen. And insurance will not cover a penny of my hormone treatment. To go to the hormone specialist to review my blood work and make a plan for hormone dosage adjustments is $125. Estradiol and testosterone pellets placed beneath my skin are about another $350 to $400 every 3 to 5 months. Most people who do hormone therapy 4 times per year pay in the ballpark of $1,200 to $1,800, and that doesn't go towards my insurance deductible. I take 2 progesterone capsules per day, 400 milligrams, and that's $65 per month. All so I can function like a normal person. Without it, my anxiety meds and depression meds aren't enough. I still have multiple panic attacks a week and constantly feel overwhelmed and overstimulated. I am not patient enough with my kids, who are good kids with completely normal tendencies to fight with each other and get into things that make messes. I have no libido, and my husband feels like it's his fault when it's not. I have intrusive thoughts about crashing my car into telephone poles at 80 miles per hour when I'm driving to go pick up groceries by myself. I think my husband and kids would be better off without me because I can't even keep up with the laundry and basic cleaning, so they would get more benefits from my life insurance policy. It gets bad enough that I should be 5150'd in a mental hospital, but I try my best to hide it, poorly, and have somehow managed to avoid going in. I cannot function like this. Just came here to say this. My father is on dialysis and needs a hormone that's generally produced by the kidneys. Our insurance will cover 95% of dialysis costs and 0% of hormones. Hormone being more expensive than pulling out and purifying blood. Most exams that take less than 1 minute to perform. I was charged about $250 for a jaw and bite checkup that took less than a minute. The dentist told me to clench my jaw, open it as wide as possible, move my jaw from side to side, smile, and then inserted his fingers to see if I was misaligned. There you go, $250 for that crap exam that I could do for free with Google and WebMD in the background. You should realize that you don't pay for that 1 minute. You pay for the years of studying and the skills it takes to perform a correct exam in such a little time. $1 for the exam, $149 for knowing what the hell any of it means. People have a real high opinion of their own Google Medical School degree. I work at a well-known fast casual restaurant that's part of a large chain, and we get at least 3 to 4 people a day commenting that our soups are way overpriced. It's about $10 for the largest single-person size. I used to hear that a lot at a sandwich shop. The issue was the meats were very high quality, primarily pastrami and corned beef, but also others. You were essentially getting slices of steak on your sandwich, and it wasn't just a few slices, it was a stack of meat. That's why they cost $16 back in 2016. I can't even understand how they made a profit on that. Then in comes some dumbass expecting to pay $5 because that's what they pay at Subway. College. Unless you're talking about community college, then yeah, college. Emergency Mediflight. I understand the cost of fuel, wear, and tear on the helicopter, as well as the pilot and medical staff, but $5,000 a mile? My ambulance ride to the heliport and ensuing helicopter ride ended up being about $250,000. Delivery apps like Uber Eats, DoorDash, etc. I bought a tray of 20 tacos that was priced at $27. Not bad, right? Kind of a deal. I paid $48 with fees and tips. Wedding materials. I understand that extra time and effort goes into a product when it's for a wedding, but the same product, like a cake when marketed for a party versus for a wedding, is like 10 times the price despite it being the same item. That's why you avoid telling a vendor that you're purchasing for a wedding, if you can. My bouquet was like $60 because I told the florist I just wanted an arrangement with short stems. I got to pick every flower in it, and it was gorgeous. But when I called previously to get a quote for a bridal bouquet, they said they started at $150. Same if you need to rent tables or chairs. Just say it's for a party so you don't get the wedding tax. Healthy food. Rice, beans, frozen veggies, bulk yogurt, or cottage cheese, potatoes, tortillas, and seasonal fresh veggies are pretty cheap. Now, it's true that in many places a cheap frozen pizza costs less than a pound of fresh broccoli, but it's usually not difficult to buy cheap healthy staples as long as you know how to cook. Perfume. A bottle costs less than $2 to $3 to make, box, and transport. CGI. There was a story that it was cheaper to buy a real 747, crash it, and then clean up the wreckage than it was to render the entire thing on a computer. Legos and Nerf guns. Anything to do with boats. I'm one of the relatively few non-wealthy people who I involved in the sport of sailing, and the markups are absurd. Take gloves, for example. You can get a 6-pack of gardening gloves for $12, but if you want garden-style sailing gloves, literally the same thing, it'll cost you $15 for 1 pair, and other styles are even more expensive. Needless to say, I just use gardening gloves. Fees to park your vehicle in midtown parking garages. Medical imaging. It costs less than $30 to run the machine each time. I can even see charging $75 to $200 for a set of CAT scans to offset startup costs a little at a time over time. My last head MRI was $850 to walk in. The ER said I had a recent concussion and my head still feels off, and I get an MRI to make sure my epilepsy treatment didn't shift. Then get an MRI. Why should it cost me $850 when I made less than $850 an hour at the time to tell the doctors exactly what I needed? They're not charging you for running the machine. They're charging you for the medical diagnosis from the images. Education. You can enroll and attend a public university for free here in this country, the Philippines. But some of the professors here act like they're teaching in a private institution, buying the book that they wrote as a requirement for passing the semester, which costs an arm and a leg. Haha, they do the same thing in North America. Usually there's a copy available at one of your school's libraries or maybe a PDF on Google. Samples of wallpaper, carpet, and paint. It used to be free, but most places charge for a tiny sample of paint or a little square of carpet, and it's generally not too expensive, but if you add up the cost per square meter of material, there's more profit in selling the samples than actual carpet. If you sell enough samples, which I would say places like Home Base, Woody's, and Home Depot would easily do, as some people buy several samples in one go because they seem so cheap at around €2 or so, I think that's a good thing. Otherwise, people would order 15 shades of orange to find the perfect one. Usually, the retailer will offer the refund at the cost of the sample if you place a full order with them. Also, there's a cost to fulfilling those samples. It may sell for more dollars per yard or meter, but someone still has to get out 15 bolts of fabric and cut out a 3x3 piece. That's easily 2 hours of work. Thanks for watching until the end. Since you made it this far, why not leave a like on the video and subscribe? Then be sure to stop by the channel and check out another video.